What's up everybody, it's Joe from JLW Games, coming at you with another cool video back in Planet Coaster in Westwood. So, in this episode, we're gonna pretty much get all the walls and floors set for the dark ride here, and we're not creating a scene, but we're going to be just pretty much enclosing it. We're not putting the roof on or anything, just getting the walls and everything around it, and just make sure that we gotta have an outline of what this dark ride is going to be. So we don't get into like any scenes in this episode, but it's hopefully gonna come together very, very soon. And I did a test actually enclosing it with the terrain and stuff, and it did actually make the ride dark, except for the spots that didn't have walls. So I thought that was very interesting that that's how it worked out, and so I'm gonna enclose it in. It actually worked out really perfectly for a lot of the scenes, because it actually made it look more like a cave and stuff like that. So it's gonna be able to benefit, and we're just gonna have to modify the terrain the way that it's going to be after we get to that part. So anyways, that's gonna work out very nicely in my favor, and I think it will be a very nice dark ride. So yeah, so it's gonna be dark when it is daytime as well, so that's gonna be really cool that that actually does work out in my favor. So anyways, in this episode we get this building pretty much built up, and then we also work a little bit on the queue line. We don't do too much detailing in the queue line, just mostly just the pathway of the queue line is kind of what we're going to be doing here today. And there is still a lot of work to do in this dark ride, and I can't wait to see it come together, and I think it's going to be fantastic when it does come together, and I think hopefully you guys will enjoy it as well. So anyways, hopefully here pretty soon we're going to be getting into the next section of the park, and that will be the Ghost Town section of the park, which will be the second to last section of the park, because a lot of people have been asking for the carnival section as well. I think that's going to be a very small section, so if I do make that section, I won't count it as a huge section, a major section anyways, because we still have the Ghost Town after this, and then also the Invention Company, and then possibly the carnival area, which will be a small area for families, and gonna have a lot of flat rides and stuff like that, and possibly even a small kiddie coaster, but we'll see how that turns out when we get there. That's gonna probably be the last thing we work on, is the carnival area. So first things first is the Ghost Town and the Invention Company. So we still have two other sections, and again, I'm doing my best to try and get this done before March rolls around, but we're gonna have to see how that turns out. We still have another extra month, and with me working on this pretty much nearly every day, I think we might be able to get there in just a hurry, so no problem. At least that is the goal, and if I don't make it, you know, that's okay. We can open the park later up in like April or May even. It's not a huge deal, so I want to make sure there's no rushing the park, but I'm just working on it more days of the week than anything. So that's kind of what we're doing here. So as for this queue line, I wanted to have like the last part of it section kind of on the indoors side of things. As for most of the extended queue line, it's going to be mostly outdoors, maybe even with some covers or something. I'm not entirely sure, but it's going to have a lot of theming around it, and it's going to look really cool. You just might even put some animatronics out there just to kind of tease what you're about to ride in the rides, which is going to be really cool. Anyways, so after we get done with what we do get done here, I do go ahead and go and making some restaurants, or not really restaurants, more like food stalls and gift shops and stuff like that. So that's kind of like what we get into in this episode. In a matter of fact, because this actually was a lot faster than what I thought, and I was trying to think of what I was going to do, so I was like, I'll go ahead and fill in some gaps with some food stalls and stuff like that, and it actually worked out quite nice, because I still had a lot of time left, and I was like, wow, what am I going to do with this time? And I decided to make some buildings that actually fill in this new section of the mining themed area, which is actually almost done. actually, and I was considering adding another flat ride because this area is kind of lacking rides in a sense, because you have the coaster, you have the dark ride, and that's about it. So I'm thinking about another ride that I could possibly add in this section. So let me guys know in the comments what you think would be a great addition to add in the mining area flat ride wise, because I want to add a flat ride in this section of the park, and I just can't figure out which one to add, and that's kind of like my big deal that I'm trying to figure out. Oh, sorry, yawn. That's getting weird. Anyways, I could not figure out for the longest time why I couldn't place this here, and in the end, it was because the track of the train was in the way. And so I have to ultimately end up moving that over a little bit, which makes sense because it is on a heavy angle right here. And I was like, well, that makes sense now. So this bridge is very simple, and I want to add more details to it in the future so that it looks more like a bridge and not just kind of like a building with path on top of it. So that's something that's going to develop hopefully in the future as well. And of course, you got to add some, scenery items on the pathway as you go along, and make sure that the park is very well lit at night, and that's kind of like the goal we need to do. So there's a lot of things I need to add detail-wise and pathways and stuff like that. So that's going to be developing hopefully in the future, and we'll see how all that goes. But for right now, we're just going to be adding a lot of attractions and a lot of rides and a lot of shops, of course. I can't stress enough how many shops is going to be in this park, and that's going to be the a big focus on the park, is a lot of shops and stuff like that. Of course, there's going to be the rides as well, but this park is mostly going to consist of a lot of shops and scenery, and it's going to be mostly focused around that. And it will add rides possibly in the future, because this park's main focus is probably most likely not rides, but more like family entertainment and stuff like that. So you got to keep that in mind a lot for this park, and that's kind of important. An important theme throughout this park is that it's going to be focused on a lot of family rides and a lot of family stuff, and just little details like that I think will make sense in the end, because a lot of people want to see coasters, they want to see all the rides, they want to see nothing but coasters and stuff. Now that's all good and dandy and stuff, but you got to focus on a lot of buildings as well as shops and facilities and stuff, because that can make a park really nice as well. So anyways, I do admit this section does need a lot more rides, and I want to add at least 2 more rides in this section before it's done. So I would like to hear what you guys think, the hammer swing, or just any flat ride or something like that, the drop tower, something that would work well in this theme. And I just can't put my finger on which ride would work the best in this area. So suggestions are very much welcome, because I liked hearing what you guys think, and there's just a lot more of rides that I want to add in this section, and I just can't figure out yet what exactly I want to add, because there's just a lot of options, but I want to make sure the theming's correct and everything in that aspect. So that's just one thing we have to figure out. And this section, I mainly had planned the mine train and the dark ride. As for flat rides, most flat rides I do kind of wing flat rides a little bit, because this is kind of the section like you just put where I put like random buildings, random rides on the sides, and that's kind of like what is planned technically. So anyways, that's just how it kind of goes. So that's just where we're off to. So these these buildings are actually these stalls are actually very funny. I came up with some clever names, I thought. The miner dogs, which is hot dogs, and the bandit juice, which is also interesting. So definitely gotta have a lot of mind theme into this, so I always make sure I have like custom signs and stuff to rename these things properly, rather than hot dog squad and stuff. For generic reasons, that would be awesome, but which I actually do want to make a generic park possibly next after Westwood here. Might be in the future, but we'll get to that when that day comes. Well, first off, we're very more heavily focused on Westwood than anything at the moment. Yeah, it's still very excited for this series and just where it's headed, and I hope you guys are excited as well, because this park, it's very special to me, because it's almost nonetheless my dream park in a way, because I've always wanted to make like a really awesome Western theme park and play in a coaster, and this is actually my first stab at it, so at least I think it is, not like my first full stab at this. So I want to make sure I do it right and put the time in and make sure that it is the best it can possibly be. So your guys' feedback is very great, and hearing your guys' thoughts about the park is always helpful, and I haven't really heard any bad things about the park, except for what I could add in the future. You know, like, you should add this kind of coaster, or you should add this kind of ride in the future, or you should add just anything. Like, it's all useful, you know, hearing what you guys think, because keep suggesting, because your suggestions might actually make it into the park itself. And you know, even though a lot of stuff is planned out of fully set of what's gonna happen, it doesn't mean there's still stuff I could possibly add in the park that I think could actually improve it and make it even better, like you guys say. So again, there's going to be a lot of trees, foliage around everything, and that's the main focus that I want to make sure in this park, is that it's heavily natured in that regard, so that there's a lot of trees, there's a lot of bushes, and that's no secret. It's always been that way since I've been playing this game pretty much. But I want to try and experiment in future parks and actually make certain, you know, parks that don't actually have that, you know, may have more flat land than, you know, stuff like that. And I want to make sure that I'm making more working more with the terrain in this park, because I want to make sure it's not all completely flat. There needs to be sections that are not flat, and I need to make sure that I'm doing that. As you can see with the mine train coaster, I actually did work with a lot of different terrains, and I kind of need to do that in the future here for the park. So maybe in the ghost town or something like that, we can create some more slopes and stuff with the pathway. I think that would actually be a really neat thing, or good thing to do for the future, and it would be really cool, because I want to make sure there's a lot of hills and stuff like that, or certain hills, especially in the coasters. They're going to have the terrain's going to be definitely uneven for the terrain on the coasters, and I want to make sure terrain's a factor in the RMC coaster when we get to that in the mine, or in the ghost town. That's going to be a very important thing occurring in the ghost town for the RMC, that it's going to interact with the terrain quite a bit. I already got the idea of where it's going to go. I got an idea of some elements I want to put into it as well. Hopefully that will be in the next couple episodes, and I can't wait to get started on that RMC coaster. I think it's going to be the main attraction, probably one of the main attractions of the park itself, if not the main attraction, because it's going to be a very large ride. And when I say large, I mean like probably the tallest and fastest coaster in the park. It's probably going to be around, I don't know, 130 to 140 feet tall, and that's pretty good size, I think, for an RMC coaster. And it's not too tall, not too short, I think, and it's gonna have a nice steep drop, and you know, maybe a couple inversions, maybe 2 or 3 inversions, and it's gonna be really cool. And I want to make sure I have like a wave turn. I want to put like this wave turn on one of the cliff sides that have already been made in this scenario, in the landscaping of this park. So it's gonna be like on a cliff, and it's gonna do like a actual wave turn, which will actually be really cool, you know, a 90-degree turn and stuff like that. I'm actually getting very experimental with some of the buildings now, which is actually, I think, a really good thing, like changing colors and using different textures of walls for different things, making the heights of the roofs slightly different on each different building and stuff. I think that's very important as well. I'm doing my best to try and just experiment more and get into all that stuff. Anyways, so this is the last building I get into before ending the episode. So that's gonna be pretty much it for this episode, and I hope it's shaping up the way I hope, and I think it will in the end. So again, let me guys know what you guys think in the comment section below, what kind of flat rides you would like to see in the mine themed area, and kind of give an explanation of what theme it is as well. That's very helpful at the same time. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this on the channel. So I will see you guys next time. Make sure you have a great day and an even cooler tomorrow, and I'll catch you guys in the next video, which hopefully we'll get into really cool stuff. But anyways, thank you guys, and goodbye.